How's it going? Hello, hello, welcome back. For those who don't know me, my name is Jet. I hope you're having a wonderful day or night wherever you may be. This is Roxas as well. He decided to come up since I cleared off the ottoman. I thought today would be super fun to talk about some plants that I've gone in, I would say like the last month, maybe a little bit past the last month, but over the span of a month or so, I've kind of just collected these ones and I haven't really shown them in any form. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of at least talk about them and show them. Some are super recent, like I think the last one I got was like maybe a week ago. Others have been kind of the past couple spans of weeks. I'm super excited. I feel like some of the stuff that I'm gonna show today is things that I don't normally go for, but I've just been getting slowly into. I will say like a lot of it is like cacti right now and things of that nature. Not everything that I have specifically, but just overall, I slowly am becoming more interested into cacti and even more like succulents, like haworthias and stuff like that. I think just growing up and living in the desert, you see them everywhere, so you kind of just don't care. Now that I have started to learn more like just about cacti and a lot more of the species like that live in the desert and just a lot of that stuff, I feel like I'm slowly getting more fascinated by it because there's some really cool species. In my head, there's like a stereotypical setup of like what cactus are and like how they look like, and I feel like there's a lot of really cool specimens out there that unless you start looking or someone shows you or you run into them, you just don't really know. You can kind of already see where one of them is. I'm gonna move him, he's gonna get mad at me. I have this beauty. Now I'm gonna be so authentic and say I can't pronounce the Latin names without staring at them, so I have them written down on my computer screen. So this one is a celestial cactus cladaminosus. Celestial cactus cladaminosus. Celestial cactus cladaminosus. Celestial cactus cladaminosus. I cannot say that last part to save my life, but this is commonly known as a monkey tail. I got this at my work and we had a conversation about it because I think there's a couple different variations of monkey tails, and I don't think this is the sought after one that people kind of always want. The one that I think a lot of people think of is like super fuzzy looking, almost a lot more white, while this one you can see it's a little bit more kind of has like that golden tone, like almost like a rat tail cactus. And so I don't know, it is technically speaking it is a part of that family, but I don't think this is like the genuine monkey tail that a lot of people want in their collection, you know, that really fuzzy beautiful one. But nonetheless, we got these in at my work and I was just so enamored by them. Like I said, it's one of those things where when I think of cacti or cactus or things of that nature, I don't think of this. I think of like a swaro. And so seeing something like this is just so fascinating to see how it kind of just grows through. If I was reading correctly, because like I said, it's still something that's relatively new to me, they will kind of just grow and hang over off like steep rock sides and like cliffs and whatnot. I don't know exactly where they grow in those regards, but still nonetheless, just absolutely beautiful. It has been growing consistently for me. You can even see on this little arm, see if I can do it without taking myself out. You can kind of see it's like pushing out little growth points at the bottom as well. I don't know, this dude is just so fascinating. I'm so happy to have it in my collection. Like I said, just enamored. I just love everything about it. I think it's so fun and it's been growing pretty consistently. When I brought it home, like I have it on like a little stand outside just to make sure the arms don't touch, and they're already getting to the floor and they weren't there when I brought it home. So that was super exciting. I can't wait to find a pot that looks good for it. I'm a little bit nervous because, you know, with the move happening, we won't have a balcony and I don't know if the front area is going to be somewhere where I want to be putting things. So I'm hoping I don't have to sell it. That is like my only worry. I feel like no matter what, I'll find a way to keep it, even if it is indoor. It's just going to be such a pain to keep something kind of that spiky and to have like cats around. So I'm gonna figure it out, worst case scenario, but my fingers are crossed I don't have to. The next plant we have here is also just something that I find absolutely fascinating. This is a Hydnophytum papuanum. I believe I'm saying that correctly. This is also known as a ant plant. These guys are super cool. They are epiphytes. So they're typically growing on the sides of trees where they're naturally from. And you can see it has a codex. And inside this codex, if I were to cut this in half and split it open to show y'all, it would be a bunch of little holes and like tunnels, almost like something already digged through it and everything. And the reason why this plant has them specifically is because they have a symbiotic relationship with ants. So in nature, the ants would be going along, doing their thing. They would find one of these, they would live inside of it. And so obviously that gives them shelter. And then in returns for the plant, it is protected from like pests and anything that might try to harm it. The ants will kind of ward off, eat, fight, whatever. And I just find these absolutely freaking phenomenal. I think they're so cool. Their growth is super interesting as well too. They have interesting little blooms. I don't know, I'm in love with them. I'm looking at it now and I don't know if this has a little bit of a burn or if this is a type of scale. No, I think it's just dry right here. For a second, I thought it might have like some weird scale, but I don't think it does. With this one, I think in the future, I am going to see about mounting it. I think I want to mount it. Like I said, it is an epiphyte. They're usually growing on the sides of trees. So I think like a cork mount would be super pretty with this. I'm telling y'all, I'm in my mounting era, all right? I'm going to start mounting like a ton of stuff. Not like out of pocket, like things that I feel like will look good mounted. You know what I mean? The same way of like trying to find the right pot for the right plant, right? At least how I do it in my space and like in my head. I would only want to mount things that I feel like would look good on a mount, but also would just a complementing situation. You know what I mean? I feel like this would be one of them as well too. Next on the list, we have this beauty here, literally. This is a Florida beauty, also known as it's technically a philodendron, squamifirmum, and a pedatum cross. That is what a technically it's a Florida green, and then a Florida beauty is the variegated version. So this is the variegated version. I actually got this at a kind of like a pop-up plant sale swap sort of thing. It was in one of the Facebook, well, not one, they were spreading it through like a bunch of the different ones, but it was a Facebook group. Someone pretty much said, hey, in my backyard, I'm gonna have like 19 spots. If y'all wanna sell your stuff, come through and sell. So there was a bunch of just local people that were just selling stuff in their collections, whether it was cuttings or things that they've been growing. And there was so much cool stuff. The amount of begonias that I saw, living in Arizona, like you don't find begonias. And so there was a ton of them. I was super close, but I was like, no, I need to refrain. Like, I don't know what I'm doing with begonias. I want to start off probably with something a little bit easier, or at least like think it out, and especially not before like a move in the next like 6 weeks. I don't really want to mess with it that way. But I did find this beauty, and it is pretty rooted up. I need to pot it, but you can kind of see the root system down there. When I got it, this leaf hadn't unfurled yet, and so it just kind of finished off. It's not hardened. It doesn't have any variegation, which I'm 100% okay with. I'm gonna be putting this in a cabinet pretty soon once I like get it actually potted up. But I got this thing for I think 35 if I remember. So I don't know, I was feeling a little bit more optimistic about it. I really wanted one of these. I want this to kind of be my replacement for my philodendron bipinifolium. Love that plant, but I don't know, it's not really entertaining. I don't really love it as much as I did. And I just like the shape of the leaf a lot more with the Florida Beauty. And I love the variegation. So I was like, you know what, I'll go for this. I'm gonna see how it goes. But yeah, I got this one, like I said, this is the most recent one I got, which was no more than like a week or so ago. But yeah, nothing super crazy to say on it. My cat has knocked it over like 3 times. I was super stressed out. The new growth is kind of pointing down right now, but I think it'll be okay. And I kind of took it out to look at the node, and the node looks like it has some decent variegation. I never realized how hard it is to tell of the variegation when it comes to the Florida like beauty, just because I don't know, the petiole is so dark, and so you can see it, but it kind of just disappears. So I'm kind of surprised it even got onto like the leaf, even though it only is a little. But yeah, that is the Florida Beauty for you. Continuing on with our little trailing cactus trend. This one is called Aporia Cactus flagelliformis, I believe. I feel so much more confident saying that, but I don't know if it's right. But this is also known as a rat tail cactus. So you can definitely see it's a lot more fragile, small. It is fluffier, so you can kind of touch it and guide, but you can still get kind of like nicked by it, so you have to be careful. But this one is just so fun, and it's just so interesting. I just love how it kind of just grows off, and It obviously reminds me very much of the monkey tail that I showed earlier, but I don't know, like when you look at these two next to each other, they have that similarity, but at the same time they're so different, and I just saw this and I was in love with them. We got a handful of them at work and I was so scared that they were gonna go, so I ended up getting one pretty quickly, but we ended up getting more of them later on, but I still feel like I got a pretty good pick, and I don't know, just something about it is just so gorgeous. All of these top ones right here is all new growth. I don't know, these things seem to grow stupidly quick. I have it on the west facing window. I actually have this one indoors. I feel like it can do good outside, but they dry out quicker than you'd expect. And I felt like this was gonna potentially be like every couple days, and that kind of made me nervous. So I was like, no, I'm gonna keep this one inside. So I have just had it in that west facing, and it's been doing phenomenal. I would say it's almost once a week at this point for watering. Maybe like 10 days, but I feel like once a week is about what average it is too. And then in regards to like the monkey tail, having it outside, west facing, it is dappled light and pretty much shaded throughout the day. It's almost like every 2 weeks, which has also been pretty nice. Both of these have been pretty low maintenance, and they have just been giving me lots of growth and making me fall in love with them so much. I believe with these ones too, I might be wrong, I think they push out really pretty like pink flowers, or they might be more maroon, if I remembering correctly. I know these ones also push out, I think, more of like a reddish maroon type flower, but I saw, as soon as I got one, I swear I saw a bunch of like Instagram posts and like reels and stuff, and I was like, wait, like I'm so happy I got this. These blooms are so beautiful. I can't wait to just find like a really interesting pot for it, but I don't know, I'm gonna have to think about it. But yeah, this is the rat tail cactus. Last but not least is this cutie here. This is a Ashkenerrapans. I believe I'm pronouncing that first part right. Also known as lipstick plant. This one is technically a curly lipstick plant. I saw this at a different nursery. I don't normally go to other nurseries. I usually just go to my work because I'm there a lot. And so I don't feel like I go to other places. I just kind of wait to see what was there. But I ended up going with some other coworkers to a couple different spots, and when we went to this one nursery, I saw these, and I immediately was like, I need to get one of these. This is so freaking cute. And then I started looking at more and more, and I saw like the blooms on them. They're like these maroon, they're super beautiful. I was like, hang on, this is it. This is it. So I ended up picking one of these up. I have just had it on my west facing window. It gets a lot of freaking light. As much light as my Hoya does. My Hoya compacted, they're pretty much neck and neck. And it's been doing so good. It's drying out pretty quickly, but the soil mix that it's in is pretty It looks like it's just cocoa core and perlite. I want to get to the point and maybe repot it. I just don't really have a cool pot for it right now, and I would kind of want to wait and get something right for this one because it has so much character on its own. And the curly leaves, but then that kind of nice plain green, I kind of want to see if I can find like a fun, funky pot. Because if there's one thing that I kind of go off of as like a rule of thumb, if I'm gonna get a pot that has a lot of details, or like it's kind of intricate, or it's just a little extra, I try to pair it up with a more plain plant, but one that has enough character on its own. Like that green is nice, but like the curls are super cool. So I don't know, I want to hunt down and try to find something a little bit more interesting for it as well. But either way, it's been super laid back, super, super fun. This is my only lipstick plant that I have at the moment. I did have a black pagoda. It was probably like maybe my like 10th or 11th plant ever when I was first getting into plants, and I was living at my dad's house. It died, it had not enough light, and it was just fighting demons. And so I didn't really know at the time. I didn't look up plants, I just bought stuff and put it in my room and saw how I did, and learned the hard way. It needed way more light than what it was getting. And so now that I have, you know, these big old windows, as soon as I saw this, I was like, yeah, no, I'm super confident. Let me just put that there. And yeah, it's been doing super good. But once again, this is the Ashkenerrapans, also known as the curly lipstick plant. I'm just gonna like pull this little hook down here. I just wanted to showcase all the plants all together in the same clip. This is going to be the end of the video. I know it's a little bit different than what I normally do. I think I focus a lot more on repotting and showing off my collection that way, but I've had these cuties and I haven't really given them a chance to shine, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about them. So I'm excited to get the chance, and I'd love to hear what y'all think. Or do you own any of these ones? Are any of these some of your wish list ones? I always love to hear that kind of stuff and see what people are kind of hunting for. Like I said, everyone has such unique taste and different things that they gravitate to, and I always find that super fascinating and fun to talk to. I always say, like, a couple years ago, if you would have showed me this ant plant, I would have thought it was ugly. I wouldn't want it. And as my taste has progressed and I revisit a lot of things, I realize how much I actually adore a lot of the stuff that I just did not think was cool originally, which is super fascinating and fun in itself. But yeah, other than that, if you enjoyed the video, definitely don't forget to give me a sub, like the video, share it with a friend. It all helps me out tremendously. I am, I think, like 30 or so followers away from 1,000 subs, which is crazy. I'm hoping to do it by the end of the summer, so if you can, definitely give me a follow. It helps me out. But other than that, wherever you may be, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or night. Thank you.